ceiling. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer put the blame for the standoff on Republicans.
Republicans played a dangerous and risky partisan game, and I am glad that their brinksmanship did not work.
But the increase of $480 billion in the debt limit will not last long, says ABC's Terry Moran in Washington.
That amount of money will only allow the government to pay its debts through around December 3rd. The problem has been that the majority of Republicans in the Senate and the House, the overwhelming majority, are using the threat of a government shutdown and even the threat of a default on the nation's debt as leverage against President Biden's spending priorities. They think he's spending too much money, and they are willing to go to the wire on that.
This morning, the Labor Department will release the September jobs report. Economists predict about 500,000 jobs were added last month. Pfizer asked the FDA for emergency use authorization of its COVID-19 vaccine for children aged 5 to 11. Former acting CDC director Dr. Richard Besser is the president of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. He tells ABC why this is so important.
One of the myths that's out there is that this COVID pandemic isn't affecting children. There have been over 600 children who've died. There have been thousands who've been hospitalized. So many that have developed this long-term COVID syndrome. So it does affect children.
And overnight, a vaccine mandate for large outdoor events in Los Angeles County took effect. 2 winners for this year's Nobel Peace Prize. One of them, Maria Ressa from the Philippines.
Maria Ressa uses freedom of expression to expose abuse of power, use of violence, and growing authoritarianism in her native country, the Philippines.
The other fellow journalist, Dmitry Muratov of Russia. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Get off the debt treadmill and stop the harassment. Get free of credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and medical bills. Call now at 800-533-6605 for free information. For about 10 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, too. Get off the endless cycle without having to declare bankruptcy. You'll have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call Total Financial now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605.
The search continues for a Texas 3-year-old who disappeared 2 days ago.
A desperate plea from a Texas mother whose 3-year-old son seemingly vanished.
Por favor, todos ayúdenme, regrésenme mis niños.
Christopher Ramirez was last seen Wednesday afternoon. Authorities believe he followed a dog into the woods and he never came back. Overnight, a massive search around the 4.5-mile wooded area near Houston. Law enforcement combing every inch with dogs and manpower, even draining one large body of water and deploying divers to search smaller ones.
That's ABC's Megan Tavrizian. President Biden's ordering the restoration of 3 national monuments that have been scaled back during the Trump administration. 2 cover large parts of Utah, which were scaled back to allow for more mining. The third is a marine conservation area in New England that the Trump administration opened up for commercial fishing. A California surfer is recovering after a terrifying encounter with a 10-foot great white shark off the coast.
So I punched this thing, and you can see just from grazing its teeth, I cut my hand, but it was such a measly punch compared to how big this creature was.
Eric Steinle was in the waters in the Bay Area. He felt the shark clamp down on his leg and eventually gave up. He was able to paddle the 50 yards to shore. Doctors say his leg wounds are so serious that recovery could take a year. This is ABC News.
You love Zoom for video meetings? Now, choose Zoom to power your phone communications too. Zoom Phone works seamlessly within the Zoom app as your business phone system. Zoom Phone's secure HD audio and enterprise-grade reliability keep you connected to your teams and your customers. And it's easy to use on mobile, desktop, or desk phone. Empower your workforce with Zoom Phone. Zoom, how the world connects.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the best.
Good morning, everyone. We made it to a Friday and the cloud cover is staying with us again this morning. Some patchy mist is also possible for your commute. Otherwise, it's a drier start to your day. Rain, though, is on the way. We'll see scattered showers and a few thunderstorms this afternoon and especially this evening. Highs today staying in the 70s. More rain is likely off and on overnight tonight. Showers still likely on Saturday and Saturday night. Drier on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Moloch in the Weather Center.
There's no rain right now in Rutherford, but we've had some overnight and in early this morning. But we are under that flash flood watch until about noon. Continued showers and thunderstorms are expected to develop across the area through this morning. Additional rainfall totals of up to 1 to 2 inches are possible across the watch area. And we'll keep our watch on that. At the same time, just be cautious about those low bridges that you might be passing over this morning. We're at 66 degrees and cloudy here in Rutherford. Now I have these death announcements this morning. Juanita Petite Newton, age 77 of Rutherford, died Wednesday at her home. The funeral service will be held 11 o'clock Saturday, October the 9th at First Baptist Church of Forest City. Burial will follow in the Robertson Creek Free Will Baptist Church Cemetery. The family will receive friends following the service at the cemetery. For the safety of those attending, the family respectfully requests that masks and social distancing be observed, and the Paget A. King mortuaries serving the family of Juanita Newton. Wayne Morrow, age 78 of Rutherford, passed away Saturday, October the 2nd at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. A memorial service for Wayne will be conducted at a later date in Harrelson Funeral Home, serving that family of Wayne Morrow. Amanda Tessinier, age 38 of Forest City, passed away Friday, October the 1st at Adrium Health Cleveland in Shelby. A private celebration of Amanda's life will be conducted by the family and Harrelson Funeral Home in charge of those arrangements for Amanda Tessinier. Jean Ann Henson, age 72 of Ellenboro, passed away October 3rd at Spartanburg Regional Hospital. A funeral service will be conducted on a future date to be announced by Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services for Jean Ann Henson. Angie Marie Taylor, age 53 of Forest City, passed away Wednesday, September the 29th at her residence. The funeral service will be conducted at 6 o'clock Saturday, October the 9th at Temple Baptist Church. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the church, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Angie Marie Taylor. Linda Marie Grabowski, age 66 of Spindale, died Thursday, September 23rd. The memorial service will be held Saturday at 2 o'clock at Mount Vernon Baptist Church. The family will receive friends from 1 until 2 prior to the service in the sanctuary of the church. The Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory in charge of the arrangements for Linda Marie Grabowski. George White, age 75 of Shelby, passed away Tuesday, October the 5th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. A memorial service will be conducted at 1 o'clock Saturday, October the 9th. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the funeral home, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service entrusted with those arrangements for George White. Mr. Philip Cook, 68 of Washburn Community, passed away on Monday, October the 4th due to a tragic accident. His life will be celebrated during a graveside service Saturday, October the 9th at Salem United Methodist Church Cemetery. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service in charge of the arrangements for Phil Cook. Amber Elizabeth Teague, age 17 of Roper Loop Road, passed away at her home due to COVID on September the 27th. A family-directed celebration of Amber's life will be held 11 a.m. Saturday at Vane Mountain Baptist Church, Highway 221 North, Marion. Crow's Mortuary is serving the family of Amber Elizabeth Teague. Jasmine Marie Dixon, 33, passed away at Rutherford Regional Medical Center Wednesday, September 22nd. The celebration of Jasmine's life will be held today from 3 until 4 at Crow's Mortuary. Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Jasmine Dixon. Aurora Edith Paget, 59 of Ellenboro, died Sunday, October 3rd. Those arrangements incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service. And again, that's Aurora Edith Paget. Eddie Garland Jennings, age 71, of Caroline, passed away Saturday, October 2nd, at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. No formal service will be conducted, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service serving the family of Eddie Garland Jennings.
Provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer payouts of 10% annualized returns plus bonuses up to 21%. Start your due diligence at nria.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy. 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at nria.net.
On this Friday, anger is growing over the way President Biden is governing. No question about it. Mr. Biden promised moderation and transparency in his administration. That has not happened. He is a pawn of far-left forces who want to dismantle traditional America. And the folks are not happy. One poll this week has Mr. Biden down to 38% approval. That's shocking. Now, we are a divided nation, no question about it. But most of us respect our country and reject extremism. Mr. Biden is Uncle Extremist. We have no effective southern border. We have a dishonest assessment of Afghanistan. We have a socialist cadre trying to run the D.C. We have out-of-control crime. And most of this is directly Mr. Biden's fault. I mean, come on. Biden closes down the Keystone Pipeline and then has to implore Saudi Arabia to harvest more oil. Does that make sense to anybody? I could give you 10 of those. So as I said, anger is growing over President Biden's administration. And that is a fact. Now this. If you are stuck in a timeshare, please call my friends at Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee to get you out with a specified time frame given to you in writing. They have helped thousands of unhappy timeshare owners over the past decade. Family owned, their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. So please call for a no-obligation consultation. 855-551-7066 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
The music's on us. WCAB.
Every morning I open the door. Hello, stock. Hello, store. Building my business, building my dream. I'm glad to have radio on my team. It reaches my customers and new ones too, and tells them about what we offer and do. I'm watching my budget. I have to spend smart. For me, radio is a good place to start. Radio works harder. Put it to work for you at radioheardhere.com.
Brought to you by this radio station to remind you that radio is heard here. Radio is heard everywhere.
Let the WCAB marketing team go to work for your business. It works. Call Tracy or Jim at 287-3356.
A very special piece of our country today was at one time occupied by an Indian tribe whose battle cry was Yosemite, translated, "Some among them are killers." Following the Mexican-American War, this land became a part of the United States, and by the early 1850s, Anglo settlers were occupying the valley, calling it Yosemite. With Niagara Falls in New York already a popular tourist destination, and Yosemite having Half Dome Mountain and more than one stunning waterfall, early residents started charging people to visit the area. But because of paintings and photographs circulated in the East, Americans started calling for the area's preservation from commercial development. So in 1864, President Abraham Lincoln signed a bill giving Yosemite Valley and the surrounding giant sequoia trees to the state of California to be held in trust. Unfortunately, California was not vigilant in its stewardship. Then along came naturalist John Muir. Muir published several articles exposing the destruction of the valley by what he called hoofed locusts, or sheep. By 1890, Muir convinced Congress that the land would be better protected as a natural park. Originally 1,500 square miles in size, it was later reduced to 540 square miles. Today, this land, with the name of an Indian battle cry, is one of our country and the world's most popular natural preserves, with almost 5 million people from all over the world. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James has added 2 new sandwiches to his already delightful menu, along with the fresh-cooked burgers, sandwiches, fresh salads, hot dogs made to order. Now try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. Both come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 4, closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford, or call 828-447-4644. And Mondays only, hot dogs with mustard, chili, and onions, only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
The Friday morning call-around report on WCAB is on the air. Let's go first to the Sheriff's Department, and Deputy Greenway is on the phone to give us an update. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Doing good, sir. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. Didn't get washed away, I gather.
Yeah, trying not to.
What's on the report?
So, the last 24 hours, we've ran 192 calls. There's currently 182 in the jail. Going to start by reading our incident reports. We had Joe Klassen reported an incident of felony larceny. Jonathan Lovelace reported a damage to property and misdemeanor larceny. We had a breaking and entering reported by Eddie Moore. Another breaking and entering reported by Michael Duncan of Doggett Road in Forest City. Breaking and entering and larceny reported by Alvin Toney. It looks like there's quite a bit of property taken on this one. One was a Ivor Johnson 12-gauge shotgun. We had a Ruger black and color pistol, Husqvarna 350 chainsaw, and a Generac 6500 orange in color generator. We had a Ruby Ingold reported an incident of obtaining property by false pretense. And then we had Robert Anderson reported a breaking and entering. And then now moving on to our arrest reports. James Woods was served with a failure to appear on misdemeanor order for arrest. Teresa Arnold was charged with larceny by employee. Gregory Scott Sisk was served with a warrant for assault with a deadly weapon. Roy Lee Metcalf was charged with assault on a female communicating threats. Jeremy Walters was charged with assault on a female. Jamal Gray was charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. And that completes the morning report this morning.
Deputy Greenway, thank you very much for that report, and I hope you're safe over the weekend.
Thank you so much.
And we'll get to 911 Communication Center next.
Hey, folks, Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse-quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed, Seed, Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherford.
All right, Stacy's up next. She's in 911. Stacy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. What's on the report?
The past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications Centers processed 497 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 59 EMS calls, 0 for rescue, at a law enforcement Sheriff's Office 192, Forest City 66, Rupton 23, Lake Lore 13, and Spindale 47. Under fire calls, dispatch Boston to a motor vehicle accident, Cherry Mountain to a motor vehicle accident, Cliffside to a fire alarm, Lake Lore to a motor vehicle accident, Lake Lore to a fire alarm, Sandy Mush to a motor vehicle accident, SDO to a motor vehicle accident. That's all we have.
Stacey, I appreciate it. I hope you have a great weekend.
All right, thank you.
Thank
you
you. Bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Here's Ruby Taylor with the Danieltown SDO report. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you get any rain over at your house?
Yeah. Oh, it's soggy wet.
Yeah.
I got bunches of leaves to get up.
Yeah. Rain really washed a lot of them off, didn't it?
Yes. It'll be another day.
Yeah, well, that's a good attitude to take. What's on the report?
The fire department had one call, and that was to a vehicle accident. And on my birthday calendar, I've got Brandon McCraw having a birthday today, and hope he has a nice day. Then Saturday, Joe Harden, Tommy Hambrick, Tommy Roper, Bruce Hauser, and Al Radford's having birthdays tomorrow, and hope they have a nice day. Don't have any Sunday. Signs are in the secrets today and going to the thighs tomorrow and Sunday. And, Jim, that's all I got.
Well, you enjoy your weekend.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, it's less than 3 hours, a little better than 2 hours and a half away from the live remote broadcast today from ISA's new location. Insurance services now moved to 245 East Main Street, and we're going to be there today to help them celebrate with 2-hour live remote broadcast. They had the ribbon cutting yesterday. Some fine folks turned out for that, and today we're going to celebrate with live remote broadcast with some. We'll have lunch there and some opportunities to win some things and talk to some folks, and we hope you'll make a point of stopping by, get all your questions answered about any insurance, Medicare, Medicaid question you might have today as well. I'm not going to try to sell you anything, but they will answer your questions if you have some. That's Insurance Service Associates live remote broadcast today, 10 until 12 on WCAB. All right, let's check on Gary. He was pretty well washed out yesterday. Let's see if he's washed out again today. Good morning, Gary.
Now, what kind of wood was that Noah used to build the ark with?
You need some of that?
I'm trying to find some of it.
Oh, boy.
It is pouring up here right now.
Oh, it is raining now?
Oh, it's raining hard up here.
Wow. Well, you had a bunch yesterday morning. You reported over 3 inches.
We did. We had 3.5 inches at 7 o'clock yesterday morning. Then we got another 1.5 inches by 10 o'clock. And since 10 o'clock, we've got another inch. So we're at about 6 inches right now and raining hard out here now. And some of the guys I was talking to at the fire department yesterday said they had 6 inches at their house when I was recording 5 at mine. So depending on where you're at, I know the Cedar Creek area over there got hit hard. They had 2 or 3 homes over in there that I know of that had water in their house. And there's a travel trailer camper over there that washed down the stream and ended up on a big old rock down there called Murphy's Rock. So it's been quite a mess. They had to evacuate a couple of campgrounds. Bills Creek had to evacuate 1 or 2, and Lake Lure had to evacuate 1. And it's been something else. No injury reported so far, thank goodness.
That's good.
There's been some property damage.
White House community, I think, was flooded out some over there in the White House community as well.
Yeah, we're toward Marion back in that way. It got pretty bad, it sounded like. We had one of the slips down here to Marina. It holds about, 20 boats, I guess, or something like that. And rises and falls on a pole as the water level goes up and down, and it got hung up somehow, and the pressure from the water broke the thing completely in half.
Hmm.
And
my goodness,
had one boat had pretty serious damage to it. It was floating around down there yesterday. We were down there trying to figure out how to get it secured. They finally did, though. But it's some dangerous weather to be out in, that's for sure. So if you don't have to travel, I'd say stay home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's sitting on about 66 degrees this morning. It looks like we're going to have a day full of off and on rain today, and then maybe sunshine by the weekend, which will be good.
Yeah, I think it's about time for this rain to go away, and I think Saturday, Sunday, and then the rest of next week looks like it's going to be pretty bright for us.
Well, that's good. Hopefully we'll have some dry and out weather, because we're sure going to need some.
I suspect
had a couple of
go ahead.
trees and power lines down and up on the mountain yesterday, and so it was a pretty busy day for everybody.
Yeah. I was about to say, I suspect when this rain subsides a little bit, you find a lot of trees that are down, a lot of power lines.
Yeah,
down.
we've had some already, and there'll be more, I'm sure. So, especially if we get any wind. I hope we don't get no wind. If we do, we'll have a mess.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gary,
that's about it up here, Jim. We're hanging on and
appreciate all you guys
riding
do
the
in
umbrella.
that field. I appreciate all you guys do in the field of firefighting and rescuing, those kind of things. You do a tremendous job. When we don't know about it, you're still out there working. I appreciate it.
I'll tell them, and I appreciate you mentioning that, Jim.
Thanks for staying in touch with us.
Y'all stay dry today.
All right, see you now. Bye-bye. That's Gary Wilson reporting. He's reporting out of the Fairfield Mountains Fire District in Bills Creek community. Man, right on the scene. Saw a lot of that happening and reporting straight to us. You heard it exclusively right here on WCAB in Rutherfordton.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Now, DeVern Upton is the reporter from Boston, North Carolina. She's on the phone with me right now to give us an update. Good morning, DeVern.
Good morning, Jim. Did you stay dry yesterday?
Oh, I tell you, it was hard to do that. I ran in and out a few times and got soaked to the bed.
Yeah. We have 63 degrees here in Boston. We're expecting more rain today. Fire department had one call to a car accident. And that's all I've got, Jim. I hope everybody has a good weekend and a safe one.
Is it raining over there now, DeVern?
Just drizzling a little bit.
Yeah, that's about what we're getting over here. All right, thanks so much for staying in
Thank
touch with
you.
us, and you have a good weekend.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
High school football Friday night, as far as we know, still on the docket. We'll find out from Mr. Friday Night when we talk with him a little after 8 o'clock this morning. He'll be on the radio with us live this morning to talk about the lineup for tonight's high school football. Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. Let's find out what it's been like over in the Hudlow Fire District, and the man to tell us all about it is Bob Hodge. He's over that way. Good morning, Bob.
Well, good Friday morning.
Are you washed out or are you dry?
Well, I'm sort of washed out right now, but it's not raining over here right now, but it looks dark looking out there, so like we're going to get some more today before it clears off. So
yeah, Gary Wilson must be getting all the rain up on his end. It's not doing much down on this end.
Yes, I've heard it rained a lot up that way, and they've had a lot of flooding in places up that way.
Yes,
so
yes, still raining pretty heavy, he said.
Well, but we hadn't had it that bad around here so far, so that's good. And, Jim, with the fire department overnight, we've answered one medical call. And then birthdays for Sunday, Danny Bright. Jim, everything else going along pretty quiet up here so far this morning, and maybe this rain will move out, and look like we might have a pretty good weekend there.
That looks good. Next week looks good too, Bob.
Yeah, look like all next week we look like we're going to have some that pretty weather. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate you. Go ahead.
If we can get through this, things looking a lot better there and everything. So you take care and you have a good weekend.
You too, Bob. Be careful. I appreciate you staying in touch with us and keeping us posted on the activities of your fire district, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's Bob Hodge reporting over in the Hudlow Fire District. That flash flood watch is in effect until noon today here in the foothills. That includes all of Rutherford County, Polk County, Western North Carolina, upstate South Carolina is also involved in that flash flood watch, which means continued showers and thunderstorms are expected to develop across the area through this morning. Additional rainfall totals of up to 1 to 2 inches are possible across the watch area, with locally some areas even more than that. So we'll keep our eye on the weather pattern. You be sure to stay tuned right here. And be careful and cautious when you're out there on the highway. You never know what's around that curve and bend. It could be a tree down. So just be careful and watch out and stay ahead of yourself. 31 minutes now past 7 o'clock. And I get to the next phone call right after this.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Now, Cherry Mountain is our next stop. Sue Price, good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
How is it over in your neighborhood?
Well, right now I don't think we're getting any rain, but it's awful cloudy out there, so I'm sure more's on the way. Well, we had some pretty weather, and now we got rainy weather, and everybody's looking forward to some more pretty weather.
Yeah.
So
it'll be here before you know it.
Next week will be better. Well, let's see. The fire department had one accident, motor vehicle accident. Hadn't got anything on my church calendar. On my personal calendar, I've got Ann Gurley. So happy birthday to our daughter. Hope she'll have a good day today. And, of course, she's on Fairview's calendar, and also Michelle McCurry. So hope Michelle have a good day. And let's see. First Broad, I don't think I have anything for today, but she says to please mention the birthdays for Saturday for Linda Walker and Sunday for Mary Kiger. So I hope they'll have a good days. And we hope anybody that's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. Even if it is raining, it's still going to be a good day. And I guess that's all I have this morning, Jim. Just quiet and calm over here looking for a good one, whatever. You have a good day.
You too, Sue. Thanks for the report, and you be safe over there.
All right. Bye-bye.
7:33 as we circle the county this morning on this wet and wild and crazy Friday morning. But thank goodness it's finally Friday, friends. A lot of things going on this weekend. We hope you can get out and about and enjoy most of them. IE Accounting and Tax Service, good friends. Talk to them when you need some help with your taxes or your bookkeeping or some investigation going on. Listen up. You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled Aryee. Officials have said that more than 10 homes were flooded, mostly in the Cedar Creek, Bills Creek, and White House communities in the northwestern part of our county. Frankie Hambrick of Rutherford County Emergency Management Director said we had multiple homes and campers that were flooded. We had to do several rescues. You heard Gary say the camper was washed down the stream there a little ways. Emergency personnel were on standby throughout the day and evening as periods of rain continued. And rain has led to some downed trees and roads are obstructed at times. Floodwaters caused some roads to be impassable. A campground on Rock Springs Church Road was also flooded. So far, no injuries have been reported, thank goodness. Officials say declaring a state of emergency is not something they take lightly. They did that. The county commissioner chairman yesterday declared a state of emergency for Rutherford County. The declaration helped local leaders to more effectively and efficiently keep the citizens and properly safe. We'll get to our next phone call here in just a moment. Unable to get in touch with Tina this morning up in the Shingle Hollow community, but we're rolling right along and washed our way right up to Union Mills. And Brenda Kelly, good morning.
Good morning. How are you on this fabulous Friday morning? Wet, soggy.
Fabulous and wet Friday.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you get a lot of rain?
Yeah, I don't have a rain gauge anymore, but it's raining out there now. Not hard, it's just a fine mist.
Yeah.
So, but it's rain. I thought about Tina. She likes days like this where she's had plenty of them, hasn't she?
She sure has. She must be outside dancing in the rain this morning. She's not available.
Oh, wait. But we hope everybody's having a good day. I've got 64 degrees on the front porch, and I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries. And in ways of announcements, breakfast at the Gilkey School Community Center. This will be Saturday, October the 9th, from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. The cost is adults $7, children 6 to 12 $3, and 5 and under free. Then we got a Fall Fest at the Mills, October the 30th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is at Union Mills, 60-plus vendors. Food trucks, family fun, come and support small businesses. As far as I know, that's all I've got so far. It's just short, sweet, quiet, and wet. I'm ready for some sunshine.
Yeah, you'll have to start singing Sunshine on My Shoulders Makes Me Happy.
There you go.
You going to stay in today? You going out and about?
I guess I'll stay in. I was going to go out yesterday and pay my county taxes, but I just decided as bad as it was, I'd just stay in. So I called that off.
Yeah, well,
won't hurt.
Go ahead.
Do what?
They'll get along another day without yours.
I was going to say it won't hurt them to wait a few more days on my county taxes.
Yeah. But they'll let you know if you don't pay it.
That's exactly right. It'll be listed in the paper, won't it?
Well, listen,
there's a lot of people when I used to take the paper. It amazed me at the people that didn't pay their taxes, and they'd be listed.
Yep.
But I guess maybe you just sometimes time gets by and you forget about it. But I keep mine right here on the kitchen table, where when I this is where I spend most of my time, in the kitchen, and I see it, and I thought, well, I got to get them things paid. I got to get them paid.
Yep. Comes due every year, doesn't it?
Yep, sure does.
All right, Brenda, you stay happy up there and stay dry and find something to entertain yourself. And
okay, you go check on Luther.
I'll see you next time.
Okay, catch you later.
Bye. And that's the Kelly Report from Union Mills, and we'll see if we can get in touch with Tom Roop after we make the call to Ellenboro, see what kind of rainfall we've had in the past few hours, and get an update on the weather from him, if he's available this morning, right after we talk with Tom Luther over in Ellenboro this morning. 7:39 right now.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as the spring and summer colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Now we're at Ellenboro. Luther Gilligan, good morning.
Good morning. Nice morning down here.
Beautiful sunshine over there, right?
Well, we're waiting on it.
Liquid sunshine.
Yeah, well, we have the liquid sunshine. It falls to the ground. But it's a good morning. It's a quiet morning. Well, we had a quiet day. Fire department didn't have anything all day yesterday, last night. Everything is going quiet there. It just doesn't have. Everybody's trying to get to work today and get this week over with before they can start on the weekend. Looking for partly cloudy day tomorrow and pretty Sunday. So we're going to have a good weekend. But we want to remind everybody at the Bill 3 o'clock Monday over at Corinth Baptist Church. Be there from 3 till 7:30. Everyone's invited to stop by and donate a pint of blood there. Because we always have a need for that, and who knows, it may be me that needs it. So come on by and donate a pint. And Jim, nothing else is going on down here. You have a great day up there. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
Stay out of the rain. I'll see you next time.
Take care.
All right, bye. That's the Ellenboro reporter with Luther Gilligan there on the streets of Ellenboro. Now we're going to get in touch with Tom Roop up in his vantage point. He's the keeps the stats on the weather and rainfall. We'll get in touch with him, see what's been going on with the rain in just a moment.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Well, our friend who keeps tabs on the weather and the rainfall and all those kind of statistics is on the phone with me right now. He graciously lets us pop in on him from time to time. He's on the phone right now. Tom Roop, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning to you all. I'm doing just fine. We're a little bit wet up here, but we've not had as much rain as other people had. Yesterday, last 24 hours, we got 1.9 inches of rain, and day before that, it was about 160. And the weather reporter over on Painter's Gap Road reported about 2.5 inches. And the reporter out of Chimney Rock, he's not logged in yet this morning, but I'm sure that he's going to be well over 6 inches. He was 5.5 yesterday.
Isn't that amazing how different it is from place to place in our county?
Yeah, it seemed like it come right up the valley, almost like followed Route 9 up from South Carolina and just bumped into the mountain range there and stalled out and just continues to dump on everybody in that area. We have right now a little mist out there, but it looks like it's going to turn loose any minute, but I don't know. It's maybe this will move on through after lunch today. I hope so.
It looks like it might. That flash flood watch is ending about noon as of right now. Of course, they could extend that, but right now it's supposed to end about noon today. So maybe after that we'll start settling down and get some pretty weather for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm looking forward to it.
Tom, I appreciate you letting us drop in on you. You have a great weekend, and we'll check in with you again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. But he's one of the statisticians. He keeps tabs of all those things, reports it into the Weather Center. 7:44. It's time now for us to receive birthdays and anniversaries for this 8th day of October. If you're celebrating, call us now and let us celebrate with you. 287-3356, 287-3356. We'll give you a big shout out on your birthday or anniversary. That's coming up here in just a moment. To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Why not let Andrew Tisdale, your Edward Jones financial advisor, help you create a game plan for financial success? Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale at Edward Jones Financial Advisor, 828-287-9197. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City.
Jim, have you seen Henson Building Materials' newly remodeled showroom? It's gorgeous.
You mean where they have a full line of hardware and building materials for homeowners and home builders?
I mean where Jamie, Terry, and Tony, their friendly staff, treat me like family. Oh, they're so nice.
Hey, are they taking COVID precautions and have curbside service?
Of course. They're so thoughtful.
I do need some materials, but I don't think they'll fit in our car.
Oh, silly. They have professional delivery so we can get whatever I want.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street in Forest City.
Building starts here.
Well, it's Friday, and Friday night is Football Friday night, and for many it's pizza and movie night around. So if it is pizza and movie night for you, contact Granny B's for their Granny B's pizza combo for tonight. You'll find out how enjoyable that is. Choose from 13 different combinations. And if you're going to be listening to the game tonight at home, a pizza would go great with that too, wouldn't it? Order today. You can call 286-9012, 286-9012. And by the way, they're open already for those delicious daylight donuts for breakfast. Go see Granny B's, West Main Street in Spindale, right beside the Shake Shop. And if you want your clothes looking good, you can always depend on folk cleaners to get that job done for you. Drop them off over there, and you get 2-day service. They'll get them back to you next day. They have abbreviated hours now because of lack of help and those kind of things, but they still do a great job. You drive up to the door there, drop them in, you don't even have to get out of the car. That's folk cleaners doing a professional job for people like you and me. Try them out. If you've never, let them do the work for you. Happy birthday. Let's wish a happy birthday to David Moore. He's 70 today. And Allison Case is also celebrating a birthday today. Celebrity birthdays include Bruno Mars. He's 35. He's a singer. Matt Damon is 50. And Chevy Chase is 77. Sigourney Weaver is 71. And some of the big things that happened on this day: in 1948, the first pacemaker was planted. And 1871, Great Fire of Chicago, 200 people killed, 4 square miles destroyed. 1918, Sergeant York single-handedly attacked the Germans, killed 25 captors, captured 132. That's a great story, by the way. If you've never read that story on Sergeant York, you should read that book. 1927, the first Laurel and Hardy film released. 1942, Abbott and Costello launched their weekly radio show, Abbott! 1944, Adventures of Ozzie and Harry debuts in CBS Radio. 1945, microwave oven was patented. All that happened on this date, and it's a great day to be alive. We'll have Keys to Confident Living coming up here in just a moment. 8 o'clock, 8:05, Mr. Friday Night will be on to talk with us about tonight's lineup of high school football.
Some time ago, a man bought a rock at a garage sale price. He took it to an expert and found out that the rock was an extremely valuable gem, worth several $1 million. The value had always been inherent in the rock, but it was the competent authority that recognized the value. Or visualize a painting that hangs on a cottage wall. It is too dirty and discolored to hang on the wall at home. It is an unvalued heirloom that has been there for years. No one wanted to throw it away, so it was passed down from generation to generation. An art expert visits the cottage and begins to examine the picture. He cleans and chips away some of the dirt and grime and unburies a patch of subtle color that lies beneath and exclaims with excitement, "Why, this is a Rembrandt!" In a moment of time, the value has soared to unbelievable amounts because of the word of a competent authority. At times, we may feel as valueless as the uncut gem or the dirty and grimy picture. We don't like ourselves, and we can't see how anyone else can love us either. But God, the expert of all experts, says we have great significance. The Apostle John reminds us that we are so valuable to God that He sent His one and only Son to the cross that we might be reclaimed. God looks beneath our surface appearance and declares each of us to be worth more than the whole world. This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living.
The music's on us on WCAB.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The Labor Department releases the September jobs report this hour. Economists predict somewhere in the area of 500,000 jobs were added last month, but this report may show more than just numbers.
It's a question which has dogged economists throughout the post-pandemic recession. Why are relatively few people looking for jobs? Many who lost or quit their jobs due to COVID-19 have stayed on the sidelines, but the experts are betting that could change with the September report. One reason, schools have reopened, and that means parents won't have to stay home while their kids learn remotely. Another, the federal bump up has ended or is coming to an end in many states. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
President Biden will discuss the jobs report later today. The White House says he looks forward to signing legislation after the Senate voted to increase the debt limit. It's only temporary, lasting into December, but Democratic Senator Dick Durbin said Republican leader Mitch McConnell's agreement will be important for legislative priorities.
He's bought us perhaps 2 months to work on the bipartisan infrastructure bill and the reconciliation bill, which will be the largest tax cut for American working families in history, among other things. So we're going to use this time well.
Republicans have said Democrats are spending too much. COVID-19 vaccine shots for children could be available as soon as early November after Pfizer asked the FDA for emergency use authorization in kids age 5 to 11. Dr. Richard Besser is CEO of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and tells ABC that when it comes to the safety of the vaccine for kids,
I want to make sure as a pediatrician that before I recommend this to my patients, I'm convinced that it's safe and it's effective. The information I've seen so far gives me a lot of hope.
Two winners for this year's Nobel Peace Prize, both journalists. Maria Ressa of the Philippines, Dmitry Muratov of Russia. The committee cited their fight for freedom of expression. You're listening to ABC News.
Are you more than $10,000 in debt? Feel like you're on a never-ending treadmill, staying in one place and never getting ahead with those minimum payments? You feel like there's no way out? Don't let the credit card companies bully you anymore. There are programs in place to help you get free of your debt, and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. The program at Total Financial Freedom can help you get debt-free in months instead of decades. Get off the debt treadmill and stop the harassment. Get free of credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and medical bills. Call now at 800-533-6605 for free information. For about 10 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands. They're A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, too. Get off the endless cycle without having to declare bankruptcy. You'll have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Call Total Financial now at 800-533-6605. That's 800-533-6605. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused the oil pipeline to rupture off the coast of Southern California as lawsuits ramp up. ABC's Matt Gutman is in Huntington Beach.
We're seeing multiple class action lawsuits. Commercial fishermen, residents of Orange County, federal agencies, state agencies have launched official investigations. There is a criminal investigation by the Orange County District Attorney. But I think one of the reasons that officials have been so tight-lipped about exactly how this disaster unfolded is because there is going to be criminal liability here.
There is a theory that a ship's anchor hit the pipeline. One nearby commercial ship has been ruled out. A mail carrier was shot and killed in a town just outside of Pittsburgh in what may have been a revenge killing. Ken Bach lives along that carrier's route. He heard the gunshots and rushed to his side.
One of the most loved guys in the neighborhood. Everybody talks to him. His name was Lou. He's been here for as long as I can remember.
Police say the victim, Lou Vignon, was shot multiple times. The suspect, Eric Kortz, turned himself in. He accused Vignon of poisoning his family several years ago when they were neighbors. Persistence may be good in some things, but not when you're trying to rob a bank. Police in Southern California say a robber hit a bank once this week and got away with the cash, but he was captured when he went back to the same branch the next day and tried it again. This is ABC News.
Pro football season's here, and pro roofers save valuable time with Beacon Pro Plus. Beacon Pro Plus works 24/7 for material ordering, order history, and automated promotion tracking, so you can get your favorite GAF roofing products even when working remotely. And now, order on Beacon Pro Plus and get a $175 gift card and a chance for a VIP pro football getaway. Gear up and raise your game with Beacon Pro Plus today. Build, score, and win at BECN.com.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. The cloud cover is staying with us this afternoon, and rain showers are on the way. We'll see scattered showers and a few thunderstorms later on this afternoon and especially this evening. Highs today staying in the 70s. Showers are likely this evening and overnight tonight, becoming widespread at times. Temperatures starting Saturday in the 60s. Showers are still likely Saturday afternoon and evening. More rain continues Saturday night, drier on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Mallock in the Weather Center.
A short time ago, we were just getting light mist. Now we're getting heavy downpour of rain here on beautiful downtown Whiteside Road, but we are under that flash flood watch until about noon today. Continued showers and thunderstorms are expected to develop across the area through this morning. Additional rainfall totals of up to 1 to 2 inches are possible across the watch area, with locally higher amounts other areas. These amounts may cause some localized flash flooding and quick rises on the rivers and creeks, and given the wet ground from previous rainfall. So just be careful. Watch out as you wherever you're going. There may be some low-lying areas in the highways that would cause to be flooding over. So just take your time and watch around the curves. There may be some trees and limbs down too. That flash flood watch in effect until about noon today. We're 66 degrees. The good part of all this weather forecast is after today, it looks like beautiful days ahead of us with sunshine for the next 4 or 5 days. But right now it is raining heavy. It's Friday and it's high school football Friday night. And on the phone with me right now is the man about the football news. He knows the weather forecast, and he knows high school football, and he knows what's going to happen. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Friday Night, Jay Coombs. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning, Jim. As you say that, a big clap of thunder here at the house, and the rain starts coming down, and I'm like, wow, I got my fingers crossed, but hopefully it'll move on out of here by noontime today. Hopefully it'll clear off enough that we can have football tonight. As of right now, all games are on for tonight, but stay tuned because during the day, we'll have to wait and see what happens. Got 2 games in the county tonight, and our third team is on the road, although not very far away. In fact, I'll start with that one. Thomas Jefferson Classical Academy. Griffins are now 3-2 overall. They are 1-2 in the Southern Piedmont Conference. They make the short road trip tonight over to Lawndale to take on the Burns Bulldogs. Burns is 4-2 overall. They're undefeated, 2-0 in the conference. Best news for TJ, this is the last 2A school they will have to play against this season. After tonight, no more of the larger schools. Griffins have been a bit beat up past couple of weeks. Their loss 2 weeks ago to Shelby. Last week, a hard-fought, the game came all the way down to the very end of the game, and they ended up 5 points short on the road at East Gaston last week. But the Griffins have been banged up. They have a couple of players probably will not be able to suit up and play tonight in Lawndale. I know that Coach Cash and the staff there at TJ looking forward to getting back to the 1A competition. That'll be next week at Cherville. Following week, they'll have homecoming hosting Highland Tech. Scheduled to close out the season, a non-conference game with the Carolina Bearcats. Don't stick a fork in the Griffins because no matter what happens tonight, this is still a larger 2A school. So if the Griffins can win the next 2 games against Cherville and against Highland Tech, they will earn the number 1 playoff spot of the 1A teams in the Southern Piedmont Conference. Last week, we were a bit disappointed. I don't know how to describe what happened last Friday night, except that Chase just did not play their A game, and it came on the night when they really, really needed it. Trojans got beat up in Hendersonville 42-9, but tonight Chase gets to regroup come back home. Now, that was only their first loss of the season, so they are 5-1 overall. Now, first conference game, so they start off 0-1, but I do like their chances at home tonight hosting Brevard. The Blue Devils are 2-3 overall. They are 0-1 in the conference. That conference loss, by the way, handed to them a couple of weeks ago by RS Central. Chase and Brevard have played recently 3 years in a row. Brevard winning all three, 2017, 18, and then they met in the second round of the 2A playoffs back in 2019. Chase, I like their chances back home tonight at Allen Stadium, and they are still very much in the running for the conference, even though they started off last week 0-1, losing at Hendersonville. Our featured game of the week, Rutherfordton tonight. Fingers crossed, weather permitting, everything proceeds as planned. Homecoming for the RS Central Hilltoppers, a much, much better team than what their 1-4 overall, 1-2 conference record represents. Hilltoppers tonight will be hosting the Patton Panthers out of Morganton. Panthers have started off 2-3 overall. They are 0-1 in the conference. Their only conference loss coming at the hands of Polk County, a game they lost by 33 points 3 weeks ago. Hilltoppers lost to Polk County last week by 20 points. So, like the Hilltoppers' opportunities tonight to get a much-needed win in Rutherfordton, all of these games, 7:30 kickoff. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock tonight with a countdown to kickoff. And I do have one JV final reported in from last night. Congratulations to the Chase JV team. Trojans defeated Brevard last night 14-6. This JV team is now 6-1 overall. They are off to a 2-0 start in the Mountain Foothill 7 Conference. Did have a couple of games played last night. I don't know, maybe that was a wise move. A lot of people questioned it, but the rain, at least the heavy rain, did hold off. One of those games of interest, East Gaston defeating Bessemer City by a score of 48-28. Stuart Kramer defeated Ashbrook 31-20. So a couple of games that they went ahead and played last night, maybe a wise move on their part. A couple of other games in the area. The big one tonight in Shelby. It is a non-conference game, but usually several thousand people show up. It will be Crest at Shelby. That was rescheduled from a postponement earlier this season. Crest at Shelby tonight. What about the McDowell Titans up the highway on 221? McDowell now 4-1 overall, 2-0 to start off their conference. They will be hosting Inca tonight. The Jets 1-4 overall, and they are 0-2 in the conference. So a couple of other area games of interest. Polk County does have an open date. Wolverines are 4-2 overall, 2-1 in the Mountain Foothills 7 Conference. They will be off this week, no game scheduled. So let's keep our fingers crossed, hope that the weather cooperates. Know that a lot of folks always look forward to homecoming, and tonight it will be homecoming at RS Central.
One good thing about broadcasting like you're doing tonight, should you get to go, if it does start raining, you'll be enclosed in a nice press box at RS Central, as opposed to being in the open stands at some of those places you've been this year.
Yeah, Jim, we've been outdoors, I think, more than we've been indoors this season so far. We've been lucky in that the weather has cooperated up to this week pretty well. Yeah, that certainly was a primitive broadcast situation up in Hendersonville the 2 times that we've been up there this year, setting up on top of the visitors' bleachers. And not only the visitors' bleachers, but, wow, they a little bit wobbly, to say the least. As we were leaving last week, Cliff going down the bleachers, and Cliff is a pretty good-sized guy. Cliff going down the bleachers, and he hit that bottom bleacher, and that aluminum, it just kind of popped right up in the air. Luckily, he did not take a tumble, but if he had not had his guard up, he could have. And there were a couple of Hendersonville High students sitting close, and he kind of looked at him and he said, "You knew that was loose, didn't you? You knew you wanted to see this fat boy fall." And he said they just kind of shrugged like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, we're very fortunate in Rutherford County to have such good press boxes and football fields to play on. So I'm glad we're up to snuff here in the county.
Yeah, it's always nice to come back home, enjoy doing the road games, and I really enjoy doing the road games because I've had folks tell me that they were thankful we were able to carry those games because they were not able to make the trip, either because of work schedules or the fact that they simply could not get there in time for the game. But yeah, it's always nice to come back home. I'll just have to find me another place for a good pregame meal because, yeah, in Hendersonville we did get spoiled with some really good steak dinners the two times we went up there this season. But we have lots of good food right here in Rutherford County.
Well, we are missing a really good steakhouse, though. We got all the good food around us, but one of those nice, juicy steakhouses would be great.
I'd be all for it.
Yeah. Listen, Jay, I appreciate your reporting. We look forward to having a good game tonight. I hope it is going to hold off. The rain's going to hold off, and we can get this game in tonight. I know everybody else does, too. Look forward to it tonight. You have a good day, and we'll listen tonight.
Okay. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jay. That's Jay Coombs reporting in, Mr. Friday Night. Looking forward to a dry game tonight, hopefully. And I'll have news from here and there coming up in just a few moments. We're just less than 2 hours away from the live remote broadcast from downtown at the new ISA office right across from the Mooningham Library. And we hope you can rough it and get out there and enjoy that with us.
Who doesn't want to live their most spectacular life? The new Spectacular Riches Scratch-Off from the North Carolina Education Lottery has millions of dollars in prizes with riches everywhere. So you can make bling your thing, add glide to your ride, or even glitz to your grits. Spectacular Riches with over $100 million in prizes from $100 to $10,000. Riches are everywhere. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.26. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continue to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
It's that time again, time to get the flu vaccines. And Smith Drugs in Forest City has the flu vaccinations available. Walk-ins Monday through Friday and Saturdays by appointment. And Smith Drug is asking all their Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers to call if you need any help with registering your recalled devices. Just call the Home Medical Department for any help or with questions at 828-245-4591.
Dr. Dewey Dittar is accepting patients at Medical Group of the Carolinas, Family Medicine, Rutherfordton. For Dr. Dittar, being a primary care doctor is more than testing patients, diagnosing ailments, and writing prescriptions. Relationships are the most important part of primary care, and Dr. Dittar is here for you, providing the care you need, when you need it, and it's about connecting the people he treats with the services they need. Now accepting new patients. Same-day appointments are available. Call 828-286-2302 or visit SpartanburgRegional.com for more information. Well, the talk of town right now is, of course, the rain, heavy rain we've been getting, and there's been some flooding across the area. Officials say more than 10 homes were flooded, mostly in the Cedar Creek, Bills Creek, and White House communities in the northwestern portion of Rutherford County. Frankie Hambry, Rutherford County Emergency Management Director, said we had multiple homes and campers that were flooded. They had to do several rescues. Emergency personnel were on standby throughout the day and evening as periods of rain continued. Rain led to some downed trees and roads were obstructed at times. Floodwaters caused some roads to be impassable. A campground on Rock Springs Church Road was also flooded. Officials say declaring a state of emergency is not something they take lightly, and Rutherford County did go into a state of emergency. The chairman of the commissioners signed that declaration yesterday. The declaration helped local leaders to be more effectively and efficiently keep the citizens and property safe. Frankie Hambrick said they signed the proclamation enacting a state of emergency Thursday morning. Brian King, County Commission Chairman, said this is about the safety of our citizens. We only do this at critical times. After consulting with that board, County Manager Steve Garrison and County Emergency Management Director Frankie Hambrick signed that proclamation enacting a state of emergency Thursday morning. Brian King said commissioners were receiving reports throughout Wednesday night and Thursday morning about the weather and road conditions. King said we had reports of flooding and water rising. I want to thank the hard work of County Manager Steve Garrison, Emergency Management Director Frankie Hamrick, and all of the emergency workers. Garrison said the state of emergency is important. According to the National Weather Service, showers remain likely through today, and we are under a flood watch until noon. Possibly a thunderstorm with high temperatures near 74 will also begin popping up. So we'll watch that weather for you right now. It's heavy rainfall here in Rutherfordton. Well, those folks who oppose history, they want us to forget history, are at it again. Local opponents of the Confederate monument on the Rutherford County Courthouse lawn met with representatives of statewide organizations to talk strategy Wednesday morning. Others attending the meeting via Zoom. According to an article in the Daily Courier, and explaining the reluctance of local leaders and citizens to take down the monument opponent Hope Blicker said they don't know the story, end quote. The story she referred to is that many white supremacists in the early part of the last century were at the heart of efforts to erect Confederate monuments in public places. When the Rutherford County Monument was dedicated, the U.S. Senator Clyde Huey was among the speakers. His white supremacist views were summed up in his saying, there were no N-words on the Mayflower. In addition to the local folks who met by Zoom, monument opponent Joanne Woods joined the small gathering that included Christy Pluckett Williams of the American Civil Liberties Union, Kerwin Pittman of Emancipate North Carolina, and Muffin Hudson with the North Carolina Bail Fund of Durham. Woods said people here have been programmed that there is no harm. So they're talking about taking down the monument there on the courthouse lawns, and these folks are from somewhere else. Rutherford County needs to speak up. 22 and a half minutes after 8 o'clock. Sheriff's Report coming up with Deputy Greenway here in just a few moments.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates. We know that due to COVID, many people don't want to come in the office. If you need to discuss your insurance needs or just make a payment, you can come through the drive-thru, telephone us, or drop in. We want to see you, but it doesn't have to be across from a desk. Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City.
And we'll be there to help celebrate that new grand opening of the new business this morning at 10 o'clock, 10 until 12. We hope to be there with you in mind and some lunch to be served about 11.
Saving money is easy when you shop at Jay's Discount Grocery. From snack foods to vegetables, fresh fruits to fresh cut meats, paper products, cleaning supplies, dog food, and so much more. You know, you just never know what you'll find at Jay's. So shop and save today. They're located at 671 Oak Street in Forest City, right beside the Hospice Resale Store. You know, when you shop at Jay's, you always walk out with money left over in your pocket.
Deputy Greenway was on with us earlier from the Sheriff's Department to give us a report from there, and we recorded it for broadcast at this time.
So the last 24 hours, we've ran 192 calls. There's currently 182 in the jail. Going to start by reading our incident reports. We had Joe Klassen reported an incident of felony larceny. Jonathan Lovelace reported a damage to property and misdemeanor larceny. We had a breaking and entering reported by Eddie Moore. Another breaking and entering reported by Michael Duncan of Doggett Road in Forest City. Breaking and entering and larceny reported by Alvin Toney. It looks like there's quite a bit of property taken on this one. One was a Ivor Johnson 12-gauge shotgun. We had a Ruger black and color pistol, Husqvarna 350 chainsaw, and a Generac 6500 orange in color generator. We had a Ruby Ingold reported an incident of obtaining property by false pretense. And then we had Robert Anderson reported a breaking and entering. And then now moving on to our arrest reports. James Woods was served with a failure to appear on misdemeanor order for arrest. Teresa Arnold was charged with larceny by employee. Gregory Scott Sisk was served with a warrant for assault with a deadly weapon. Roy Lee Metcalf was charged with assault on a female communicating threats. Jeremy Walters was charged with assault on a female. Jamal Gray was charged with failure to appear on misdemeanor. And that completes the morning report this morning.
This is NCN Sports.
I got the vaccine to protect myself.
Because COVID-19 is still spreading.
All the patients I take care of with COVID-19 have one thing in common.
They have not gotten their vaccine.
The vaccines were proven safe and effective in clinical trials with thousands of people.
That's why I tell my friends and family to get theirs.
I'll take feeling achy for a day or two over going to the hospital or dying any day.
Don't wait.
Go to myspot.nc.gov
to get your free COVID vaccine.
Sponsored by NCDHHS.
Fighting cancer is tough on the best day, but imagine a cancer diagnosis without access to affordable health insurance. If you are uninsured, you have a 60% greater chance of dying from that cancer than if you were insured. Care for Carolina is committed to providing more insurance options and health care access. Covering the uninsured means better health for all of us.
Go to care4carolina.com to find out more. That's care4carolina.com. Care for Carolina, expanding access, enhancing prosperity.
The North Carolina Courage returned to the pitch last night for their first game since the firing of their head coach Paul Riley over allegations of sexual coercion. In the 6th minute of the game, players on the Courage and Louisville City FC came together at midfield and locked arms in a moment of solidarity. The Racing Louisville FC interim head coach Mario Sanchez, in his post-game media call, talked about the demonstration that followed a tumultuous week for the league.
I thought it was great. I'm proud of the team, proud of the players for, making sure everyone takes notice. So look, all I can tell you is I support our players 100%.
The demonstrations were also league-wide, including the match between Gotham FC and Washington Spirit in Philadelphia, as well as Portland versus Houston. That game also halted in the 6th minute to highlight the 6 years it took for the accusers to have their voices heard. Paul Riley, meanwhile, has denied the allegations. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. The cloud cover is staying with us this afternoon, and rain showers are on the way. We'll see scattered showers and a few thunderstorms later on this afternoon and especially this evening. Highs today staying in the 70s. Showers are likely this evening and overnight tonight, becoming widespread at times. Temperatures starting Saturday in the 60s. Showers are still likely Saturday afternoon and evening. More rain continues Saturday night, drier on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Hello, my name is Gerald Sutherland. I'd like to welcome you today to the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program, or you may be watching us on our website at www.wordoffaithfellowship.org, or wherever you are. We're glad to have you today. So happy you came to be with us. I'm going to be sharing some things with you today that God's been speaking to my heart that I feel like is vital for this time in which we're living, and that's the subject of wisdom. The Bible says in the book of James, by the Spirit of God, the apostles said, is there anybody deficient among you in wisdom? Well, I could read that verse of Scripture and go no further, because I know that I'm deficient in wisdom in a lot of areas of my life. And I really need to know what God's will is that I'm facing decisions on. And I'm sure many of you that are watching or listening today are in that same place. But James goes on to say, if you're deficient in wisdom, then ask of God, who gives to all people, all men, liberally, and without fault finding, and it'll be given to him. Let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. And so today I want to share some things with you that I feel like if we ever needed the wisdom of God to know how to make decisions, it's today. There's so many things going on in our nation today, so many things in the world, so many things in this county and in our individual lives that we don't really know the answer. We don't know what the solution is to the problems. Matter of fact, our leaders in Washington, D.C. don't know the answer. They're searching, they're groping, trying to find the answer to the pandemic, trying to find the answer to the economic situation, the political situation, the military situation, so many things. But we need the wisdom and the counsel of God. And God led me back to the Old Testament, to the book of 1 Kings. If you want to turn there, it's in 1 Kings chapter 3. David, who was the king over God's people, had just passed off the scene. He had just passed away. His son Solomon had been placed in the position of taking his father's place as king over God's people. And Solomon was on his way up the mountain to Gibeon to offer up a sacrifice. There was an altar there, and I think he offered up 1,000 animals on that sacrificial altar. And while he was there, God appeared to him in a dream, and he asked Solomon what he would have him do for him. What a question. What would you like for me to do for you, Solomon? And Solomon could have asked anything of him, and God would have granted it. But he said, God, I don't know how to judge your people. I don't know how to make the decisions that I need to make in regard to leading your people. I saw my father, David. I saw how you blessed him, how you led and guided and directed him, how you gave him the information that he needed at the time to do what he was called to do. So Solomon said, I'm asking you that you would give me wisdom, give me understanding, give me a mind and a hearing heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who's able to judge and rule this, your great people? It pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this. Now I want you to get that. It pleased the Lord that Solomon asked for God's wisdom. And I want you to know today that it pleases God when you and I stop from our busy schedule and what we're in, or the things we're facing, the challenges that we have, that we stop and ask God for his direction, for his wisdom. And God said, because you've asked this and have not asked for long life or for riches, nor for the lives of your enemies, but have asked for yourself understanding to recognize what is just and right. Behold, I have done as you asked. I have given you a wise, discerning mind, so that no one before you was your equal, nor shall any arise after you equal to you. I've also given you what you've not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings equal to you all your days. And God went on to say, if you will go my way, keep my statutes and my commandments, as your father David did, then I will lengthen your days. Solomon asked God for his wisdom to know the difference between right and wrong. And I was praying about this one day recently. And I said, God, give me an understanding of what your wisdom is. And as I was inquiring of God, as I was listening to God, God gave me this definition for his wisdom. And I quickly wrote it down because I didn't want to let go of it. God said to me, wisdom is his ability, God's ability in us to make righteous decisions. God's ability in us to make righteous decisions. Now, of course, the condition of that, one of the major conditions is that we be born again. We must be born again in order for Jesus Christ to come and live on the inside of us and bring into us God's wisdom, God's counsel. And you see, righteous decisions are those that are approved by God, those that are acceptable and agreeable to God's will, God's plan, and God's purpose. In fact, in the book of Job, chapter 22, verse 21, we read these words, "Acquaint now yourself with him," with God. Agree with God. I get that. Agree with God and show yourself to be conformed to his will and be at peace. Do you want to be at peace? I want to be at peace with myself, with those around me, of course, most of all with God. But he said, if you will acquaint yourself with God, find out what God's will is, what God's plan is. You know, I've lived through almost 80 years now, and over those 80 years, I have seen time after time after time where when I would turn my heart to God and ask God for his wisdom, his guidance, his direction, I have seen God work miraculous things that I never dreamed were possible to happen. And there's such peace that comes in knowing that you've heard the voice of God, you've submitted to him, and you've obeyed him. It brings such peace to you. And it goes on to say, and by that you shall prosper, and great good shall come to you. So I went to the book of Proverbs, which was written, those Proverbs were given by Solomon. They were recorded. Thank God they were recorded, because they have so much to say to us even in this day and hour in which we live. But in Proverbs chapter 1, beginning with verse 1, it says, the Proverbs of Solomon, son of David, king of Israel, that people may know skillful and godly wisdom and instruction, discern and comprehend the words of understanding and insight, receive instruction in wise dealing, and the discipline of wise thoughtfulness, righteousness, justice, and integrity. That's what comes when we tap into the vast and transcendent wisdom of God to know what God's solution is in every problem that we face, every challenge that's before us. God has an answer. I know it's easy to say that, but it's another thing to come to the realization that he is God and he knows everything. He knows the beginning from the end from the beginning. He knows it all. And there is a book written in heaven that has my name on it and has your name on it. And in that book is recorded God's plan for my life and for your life. And included in that is God's wisdom to carry it out. God's ability working in us to make righteous decisions. I'm going to repeat that several times during this program because I want it to get in your heart. I want to turn back to that where I wrote it down. It's God's ability in us to make righteous decisions. God's ability in us to make the right decision no matter what we're facing. Whether it's purchasing a home, whether it's purchasing a new car, whether it's marrying a wife or a husband, or whether it's to have children, it's where to go to school. Some of you are facing some of those decisions right now, and you're trying to hear, what is the right course? What direction should I go? If I'm going to go to college, where should I go to college? If I'm going to go to college, what course should I follow after? What career should I seek after? So many decisions. And it's not just those long-term decisions. It's the little decisions of every day. Do we really consider Jesus worth the knowing, as it says in the book of Romans, the 1st chapter? If we do not consider Jesus worth the knowing, we won't even inquire of him. We won't even seek after him to find out what God's wisdom is in that situation. Solomon goes on to say that prudence may be given to the simple. That's me. and knowledge, discretion, and discernment to the youth. And that may be many of you that are watching and listening today. The wise also will hear and increase in learning, and the person of understanding will acquire skill and attain to sound counsel. That's what I need. Sound counsel, the wisdom and counsel of God, so that he may be able to steer his course rightly. I want my course steered rightly. What about you? And the only way to know that is to know what God's direction is, God's wisdom is. And again, it's not long term, it's short term. It's today. God, what is your will for me today? So many times we get up in the morning, we get dressed, we go about our routine, and we go through a whole day and have not even inquired of God for God's wisdom and God's counsel one time, when all the time God had another plan for us. God had another path for us to take. That people may understand a proverb and a figure of speech or an enigma with its interpretation and the words of the wise and their dark sayings or riddles, Solomon said. The reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord, knowing that God is. Knowing that without God we can do nothing. Knowing without his counsel and his direction, we're going to be in big trouble. And I've been there and you've been there, simply because I didn't ask for his wisdom. The reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord is the beginning and the principal and choice part of knowledge, its starting point and its essence. But fools despise skillful and godly wisdom, instruction, and discipline. And anytime the word fool is used in the book of Proverbs, there's a footnote in the Amplified Bible says that it's referring to those who are rebellious against God. They're in rebellion against the wisdom and the counsel of God. On over in verse 20 of chapter 1 of Proverbs, it says that wisdom cries aloud in the street. She raises her voice in the markets. She cries at the head of the noisy intersections, in the chief gathering places. At the entrance of the city gates she speaks. In other words, God's telling us there that wisdom is available to us no matter where we are, no matter how loud things are, no matter how boisterous things can get around us, no matter who all is running around, as you might say, pulling their hair out trying to find out what we're going to do about this, what we're going to do about this. And how many times do you and I face situations that look insurmountable, and the devil will get right in our ear and scream, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now, Gerald? You've got this thing facing you, and you don't have a clue about what to do. What are you going to do now? I'm going to turn to Jesus. I'm going to turn to the wisdom of God and the counsel of God. So wisdom is available. It's out there. God's speaking all the time. And he says, how long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? Why would we love being simple? It's because we do not understand God's love, God's power, God's wisdom, and his counsel that he wants to make available to us no matter what we're facing. And he goes on to say, and the scoffers delight in scoffing, and fools hate knowledge. If you will turn, repent, and give heed to my reproof, my correction, in other words, behold, I, wisdom, will pour out my spirit upon you. I will make my words known to you. But God said, because I have called, and you have refused to answer. I've stretched out my hand, and no man has heeded it. How sad. How sad. How many times has God been reaching out to me and you? And he's been saying to you, I want to give you the direction. I want to give you the answer, the solution in this situation, but you will not listen to me. He goes on to say, and you treated as nothing all my counsel, and would accept none of my reproof. He said, I will also laugh at your calamity. I will mock when the thing comes that cause you terror and panic. And when your panic comes as a storm and desolation, and your calamity comes on as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish come upon you, we've all been there, haven't we? Then will they call upon me wisdom, but I will not answer. They will seek me early and diligently, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the reverent and worshipful fear of the Lord, would accept none of my counsel, and despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way. I don't want to do that anymore. What about you? I don't want to eat the fruit of my own way, doing things my own way, thinking I can figure it out. I've got it all taken care of. Don't bother me with the answers. I've already made up my mind. This is what I'm going to do. And that's the way most of us have lived. And be satiated with their own devices. For the backsliding of the simple shall slay them, and the careless ease of self-confident fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkens to me, God said, whoso hearkens or listens to me, wisdom, shall dwell securely and in confident trust, and shall be quiet without fear or dread of evil. Anybody interested in that? I am. Knowing that I've heard the voice of God, and there's no fear. There's only peace. There's only quietness. James chapter 3, verse 13. These words are so powerful. Please listen. Who is there among you who is wise and intelligent? And there are a lot of people out there. They'll tell you, well, I've been educated in this university, I've been to that university, I have a master's and I have a PhD in this and a PhD in that, and I know. What do you want to know? And they think that they're so wise and so intelligent. He said, then let him, that person, let him by his noble living, his righteous, godly, holy living, let him show forth his good works with the unobtrusive humility. Hear that word, humility, which is the proper attribute of true wisdom. If you're really walking in the true wisdom of God, there'll be no pride involved in it. It'll only be humility, knowing that apart from him, you can do nothing. But if you have bitter jealousy and contention in your hearts, do not pride yourselves on it, and thus be in defiance of and false to the truth. This superficial wisdom, superficial, surface, is not such as comes down from above, but it's earthly, unspiritual, even devilish. For wherever there's jealousy and contention and rivalry, there will also be confusion and all sorts of evil and vile practices. But listen, but the wisdom from above is first of all pure. Then it's peace-loving, courteous. It's willing to yield a reason, full of compassion and good fruits. It's wholehearted and straightforward and impartial. And the harvest of righteousness, of conformity to God's will in thought and deed, is the fruit of the seed sown in peace by those who work for and make peace. That's what comes with the wisdom of God, the peace of God and righteousness of God. Jesus said in John chapter 7, verse 24, be honest in your judgment. Another word for judgment is decision making. Be honest in your decision making, and do not decide at a glance, superficially, by appearances. Well, this is what it looked like. This is what it seemed like to me. This is what made good sense, is the answer that a lot of people give. It just made good sense to do that. But in deciding at a glance, but judge fairly and righteously, Jesus said, and that's the wisdom of God. In John chapter 8, he said, you set yourselves up to judge or to make decisions according to the flesh, by what you see. You condemn by external human standards. Jesus said, I do not set myself up to judge or condemn or sentence anyone. Yet, even if I do judge, even if I make a decision, my judgment is true. My decision is right. For I'm not alone in making it. Are you? Am I? Am I alone in making my decisions? Are you alone in making your decisions? Or do you turn to God? Do you allow the wisdom of God to flow into your heart? But Jesus said, but it's I and the Father who sent me. And in John 5:30, I know you've heard that scripture many times on this program. But Jesus said, I am able to do nothing from myself, independently of my own accord, but only as I'm taught by God and as I get his orders. Even as I hear, Jesus said, I judge, I decide as I am bidden to decide. As the voice comes to me, so I give a decision. And my judgment is right, it's just, it's righteous, because I do not seek or consult my own will. Jesus said, I don't seek or consult my own will. I seek only the will of the Father. I have no desire to do what's pleasing to myself. my own aim, my own purpose, but only the will and pleasure of the Father who sent me. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, the Apostle Paul said, where is the wise man, the philosopher? Where's the scribe or the scholar? Where's the investigator, the logician, the debater of this present time and age? Has not God shown up the nonsense and the folly of this world's wisdom? And he does it all the time, doesn't he? He shows man how to try to operate out of man's own understanding, man's own wisdom, man's own intellect, just how much nonsense and folly that wisdom is. For when the world, with all its earthly wisdom, failed, did you hear that word? Failed, to perceive and recognize and know God by means of its own philosophy, God in his wisdom was pleased through the foolishness of preaching. Man calls it foolishness, but God doesn't. It's salvation procured by Christ and to be had through him to save those who believed. God used something that's considered foolishness by man to save the human race. For while Jews asked for signs and miracles and Greeks pursue philosophy and wisdom, we preach Christ crucified. To the Jews, this is scandal and an offensive stumbling block that springs a snare or a trap. And to the Gentiles, it's absurd and utterly unphilosophical nonsense. But to those who are called, that's you and I, if you know Jesus, if you're born again, whether Jew or Greek, Christ is the power of God. Now listen, Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God. Christ Jesus is the personification of the power of God and the wisdom of God. We only have to have him come and live on the inside of us. Take ourselves out of our own keeping and say, God, I need you. Jesus, I need you to come into my life and to change my heart. I need your wisdom. I want your wisdom in my life. Jesus Christ is the wisdom of God. In chapter 3 of Corinthians, at verse 18, Paul says, let no person deceive himself. If anyone among you supposes that he is wise in this age, let him become a fool. Let him discard his worldly discernment and recognize himself as dull, stupid, and foolish, without true learning and scholarship. Why? That he may become really wise. For this world's wisdom is foolishness with God. For it is written, he lays hold of the wise in their own craftiness. And again, the Lord knows the thoughts and reasonings of the humanly wise and recognizes how futile they are. And you know, the sooner we come to that place of recognizing how futile our attempts are to figure things out, to work things through, but instead turning to God and asking God to show us, what do we do about this? I remember many times over the years that my wife and I have been married, almost 58 years, I think, or maybe 59 years, close to 60 years of marriage. So many times we faced decisions and we didn't know what to do. But the moment we surrendered our hearts and said, God, we don't know what to do, but we're looking to you. And when we do that, God's answer comes and we obey him. It's one of the simplest things we ever did in our lives. But it's the greatest thing we ever did. Just surrendering to God and saying, God, I need your help. Psalm 25, the psalmist David said in verse 12, who is the man who reverently fears and worships the Lord? ? Him shall he teach. That man, in other words, God will teach in the way that he should choose. He will teach us the way that we should choose. He will teach us what direction to go, what decision to make. Some of you facing physical problems, things going on in your body. Maybe you've been to the doctors. They've done tests. They've run x-rays. They've done MRIs. They've done CAT scans. And they can't find out what's going on with you. But God knows exactly what's going on with you. And when you turn your heart to him, he may lead you to a different doctor. He may lead you to a particular course of medication or whatever. But he will lead you in the direction to bring about that solution in your physical problem. or it may be a financial situation. You may be, as some would say, I'm deep in debt. I don't see any way I can ever get out of debt. And God alone knows the answer. The submission of your heart to God and saying, God, I need you. You know, I think one of the greatest revelations that could come to any human being would be to come to that place where you recognize that He is God and you're not. You say, well, I know I'm not God. Well, I'm sorry, but oftentimes we live as though we are because we want to choose our own course. We want to make our own decision. It goes on in Psalm 25 and says, He Himself, that man, shall dwell at ease, and his offspring shall inherit the land. Your children will learn to trust God. The secret of the sweet, satisfying companionship of the Lord have they who fear, revere, and worship Him. And He will show them His covenant and reveal to them its deep inner meaning. I need that. And I know you do too. In Colossians chapter 2, in verse 2, Paul said, For my concern is that their hearts, speaking of the church at Colossae, their hearts may be braced, comforted, cheered, and encouraged as they're knit together in love, that they may come to have all the abounding wealth and blessings of assured conviction, of understanding, that they may become progressively more intimately acquainted with and may know more definitely and accurately the mystic secret of God, which is Christ the Anointed One. And in Him all the treasures of divine wisdom, listen, all the treasures of divine wisdom, comprehensive insight in the ways and purposes of God, and all the riches of spiritual knowledge and enlightenment are stored up and hidden in Him. Not hidden from us, hidden for us, if we turn to Him and seek Him. So Paul goes on to say, as you have therefore received Christ Jesus, walk, regulate your lives, conduct yourselves in union with and conformity to Him. Have the roots of your being firmly and deeply planted in Him, fixed and founded in Him, being continually built up in Him, becoming increasingly more confirmed and established in the faith, so that you know His wisdom at every point. We're soon running out of time, but I want to tell you again, the definition of the wisdom of God that God gave to me is that it's His ability working in us, His ability in us to make righteous decisions, to make decisions that are agreeable with the plan, the purpose, and the will of God, things that will be a blessing to us. God spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, and He said, I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you. That's His wisdom. Thoughts and plans for your welfare and for your peace, and not for evil. That's His wisdom. To do you good in your final outcome. God has a plan for you today. He has a plan for me today, and He's only waiting for us to turn to Him and repent for, first of all, not inquiring of Him at the beginning of that situation instead of waiting until we don't know what else to do, so we turn to God. No, let's turn to Him when the first challenge comes, when we know there is a decision to be made and we don't know what to do, but our eyes are on Him. One of the kings of Judah, his name was Jehoshaphat, surrounded by the enemies. They were about to destroy him and all of his people, the city of Jerusalem. And he turned to God and he said, God, you see what we're surrounded with. You see the dilemma that we're in, and neither do we know what to do. Jehoshaphat said, but our eyes are on you. And when he prayed that prayer, God spoke, and God gave him the plan for the deliverance and the salvation of His people, to protect them from the enemy. God loves you today, and He wants to help you no matter what you're walking through today, if you'll just turn to Him and seek Him. God bless you. Have a great day.